Good morning. This is Devika Chopra and you're watching NewsX. Today is the D-Day and the third and final phase of the assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir. In this phase, 415 candidates are in the fray for 40 seats. Their fates will be decided by 39 lakh voters spread across 7 districts in the Union Territory. For a smooth polling process, the Election Commission has set up 5,060 polling stations, which will be manned by a total of 20,000 polling staff. Amongst the 40 seats going to polls today, several high-profile battles are being fought in Kupwara. Nasir Aslam Bani from the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference is facing off against Mir Mohammad Fayaz of the PDP. Meanwhile, in Baramulla, a tripartite contest is being witnessed between Mir Iqbal of the Congress, Javed Hussain Beg of the National Conference and Mohammad Rafiq of the PDP. The INDIA bloc allies, you've heard that right, the Congress and the NC are engaging in a friendly contest as far as this particular seat is concerned. On the other hand, Bandipora is seeing a heated face-off for a decisive win. Nasir Ahmed Lone of the BJP is taking on Nizamuddin Bhatt from the Congress and Syed Tajamul Islam of the PDP. Additionally, People's Conference President and former Minister Sajjad Lone is contesting against 5-time legislator and National Conference candidate Chaudhry Ramzan in the Handwara constituency. Jammu's Udhampur is also gearing up for an intense electoral contest. In Udhampur West, BJP candidate and former Minister Pawan Kumar Gupta is striving to maintain his family bastion. Gupta is facing a two-front battle against the Congress nominee Sumit Magrotra and independent candidate Jasveer Singh. Meanwhile, the Chennai constituency has become a hotbed of family rivalry with cousins Balwant Singh Mankotia, a two-time former MLA and BJP candidate, and Harshdev Singh, a prominent JK and PP leader and 3-time MLA from Ramnagar, vying now for this seat. Of course, many such battles are up in the 40 seats that are going to polls this morning, but I take a moment now to break away from what's happening in our studios to what's truly happening on the ground. I go quickly across to my colleague Arzu Seth joining us from Udhampur. Arzu, a very good morning to you. It's 7 a.m. Arzu, and I'm sure that some people or some movement has now begun at the polling station. What really is it that you can tell us about this early morning? Arzu, over to you. Ghulam Nabi Azad speaking. Let's cut across.
मैं जोर से बोलूं
माइक नीचे करे
अरे भाई करेंगे
सर बोलिए
चलो आप आगे बड़े लंबे अरसे के बाद इलेक्शन हो रहे हैं 10 साल के बाद तो जो लोग कहते थे कि इलेक्शन नहीं हुए अब उनको आना चाहिए मैदान में सब जगह से पूरे परिवार समेत और अपने वोट का इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए, वोट देना चाहिए। वो उनकी मर्जी है कि किस पार्टी को, किस कैंडिडेट को वो वोट डालें, उसमें हमारा कुछ कहना नहीं है, लेकिन वोट का इस्तेमाल हर व्यक्ति को करना चाहिए। वो मर्द हो, वो औरत हो, वो बूढ़ा हो, नौजवान हो, नए युवक हो, युवतियां हो, उन्हें वोट डालने के लिए जाना चाहिए।
तो ये देखिए साफ तौर पे आप यहाँ पे
आपकी पार्टी है, how do you think it's going to fare?
No, I'm not going to say anything against any political party or any individual. This is their right to contest the election, and I would appeal everybody. There's question A party or B party. Let us leave that to the people and to the voters. They will have to decide according to your choice.
एक मिनट दे दीजिए।
सब 370 के ऊपर
हो रहा है तो उसके बाद
मैंने सीधे बताया 10 साल के बाद हो रहा है, वो सबको मालूम है। 370 भी उसमें है, 370 भी है, स्टेटहुड भी 35A भी है। दिस नॉट एक चीज नहीं है, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं।
ऐसा लगता है जो कि बाल्मीकि है, वेस्टर्न पाकिस्तान रेफ्यूजीज है, उसके बारे में बताइए।
वो कोई नए मुद्दे नहीं है, ये बहुत पुराने मुद्दे हैं और हर इलेक्शन में उठते हैं। हर इलेक्शन में पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज कुछ ऐसे इश्यू हैं जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने 75 साल से रट के रखे हैं, उनको हर इलेक्शन में पंचायत में भी उठाना है, पार्लियामेंट भी उठाना है, विधानसभा के लिए। लेकिन अभी जो करंट मुद्दे हैं 10 साल के, उनका समाधान निकालना है। और मैं समझता हूँ मेरी हिसाब से अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, यूथ की अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जो है वो सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा है।
सर इस वाली फेज से पहले हमने देखा
केबल निकाल, केबल लीजिए।
Of course, urging people to come out and vote in large numbers. He says that he will continue to maintain his silence as far as other parties are concerned. What's important to him is that the people finally get to exercise their right to vote. There you've heard it from a Congress leader and of course chairman of the Azad party as well. I'm going to quickly cut across now to my colleague Arzu, who's joining us from the Udhampur constituency. Arzu, take our viewers through the battle that's taking place in Udhampur. What is it that you can tell us this morning?
Well, Devika, the voting for the last and the final phase have begun in Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, and also right now I am in the Udhampur, and you can see people are very excited because they have got a chance after 10 years to cast their votes. What are their issue? They are standing outside the polling booth after casting their vote. Ma'am, vote cast kara hai. What are your issues that you have kept in mind before casting your vote?
I have no issue at all. Development the issue, and we want the Chief Minister from the Jammu province. And after 370, this is the first time we are voting, and this is a referendum against 370.
Also, do you think that there has been action regarding the terrorism and the security has increased in the Jammu and Kashmir region?
Terrorism has been changed into tourism. Sorry.
Okay. Sir, क्या issues थे, क्या मुद्दे थे जिनको ध्यान में रख के वोट किया?
बस राष्ट्रवाद है, इसके सिवा और क्या चाहिए किसी को? सब कुछ है, हर बंदे के पास सब कुछ है, कोई भूखा नहीं मर रहा यहाँ पे। 370 जो एक चाहिए थी मिल गई है, राम मंदिर चाहिए था मिल गया, अब डेवलपमेंट।
अभी भी जम्मू कश्मीर का इलेक्शन है, सेंट्रल मुद्दे जो हैं, जो राष्ट्रवाद का मुद्दा है, वही हावी रहने वाला है। लोकल इश्यूज किस तरीके से?
लोकल इशू क्या है, हमें तो नहीं लगता कोई है। रोड बने हुए हैं, नालियां गलियां बना हुआ है, सब कुछ बना हुआ है, और बीजेपी के राज में बना सब कुछ।
आपको भी क्या यही लगता है कि आपने पहले एक बार निशान दिखा दीजिए, आप फर्स्ट वोटर हैं जिन्होंने सो देविका यू कैन सी ही इज द फर्स्ट वोटर हु हैज कास्टेड हिज वोट टुडे। एंड सर, क्या इश्यूज थे जिनको ध्यान में रख के अभी वोट डाला है आपने?
यहाँ कोई इशू है ही नहीं, डेवलपमेंट हो गई है, सब काम अच्छा हो रहा है, एक देश है एक राष्ट्र, यही हमारा मिशन है।
पिछले 10 सालों में क्या कुछ बदलाव जो है वो जम्मू कश्मीर में, उधमपुर में देखने को मिला है आपको?
डेवलपमेंट तो हो रही है, नेशनल हाईवे बन रहे हैं, तो सुविधा हो रही है सबको।
अच्छा, ठीक है सर, आपने वोट डाला है?
नहीं डालना है अभी,
डालने आए हैं, इंतजार कर रहे हैं अपनी बारी का। कितने एक्साइटेड है, 10 साल बाद मौका मिल रहा है वोट डालने का?
नहीं बहुत खुशी का मौका ये, हम तो बहुत सारे एक्साइटेड है कि फर्स्ट टाइम ये वोट डालने का मौका मिला है 370 टूटने के बाद, तो अच्छा लग रहा है। सुरक्षा के लिए वोट डाला है हमने, सबसे पहले जम्मू रीजन के जितना भी वोट डालेगा वो सुरक्षा के लिए ऐसे डालेगा, बस सुरक्षा जो है प्राथमिकता रहेगी, पहली सुरक्षा के लिए वोट डालेगा।
सुरक्षा के लिए वोट डाला है, लग रहा है सुरक्षा मिली है पिछले कुछ सालों में?
बिल्कुल मिली है, बिल्कुल मिली है, काफी डेवलपमेंट हुई है, काफी सारे काम हुए हैं, बहुत अच्छा हुआ है, सब ठीक चल रहा है और भी बढ़िया होगा, इसलिए हम बीजेपी को चाहते हैं कि यहाँ पे वोट करें। वो
आने वाली सरकार से और क्या कुछ उम्मीदें हैं, क्या कुछ उनसे आप चाहते हैं कि उधमपुर में क्या कुछ मुद्दे हैं जिन पे काम होना अभी बाकी है, होना चाहिए?
देखो ये तो अंडरस्टूड है, ये अगर बीजेपी को आप लाएंगे तो नेचुरली अच्छा ही होगा, सब अच्छा होगा, ये तो हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि बिल्कुल होगा, अच्छा पक्का हुआ भी और होगा भी।
कैसे आप देखते हैं कांग्रेस के कैंडिडेट हैं यहाँ पे, JKN-PP भी लड़ रही है, दोनों सभी ने कैंडिडेट्स उतारे, उनको कैसे देख रहे हैं? इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट भी है यहाँ पे।
नहीं ठीक है, सभी अपना अपना कर रहे हैं, लगे हुए हैं, कर रहे हैं सभी, लेकिन ठीक है, लेकिन बीजेपी तो मेन रहेगी इसमें यहाँ पे।
Okay, so Devika, what we can pick from the ground and from talking to the people here, those who have casted their vote, that they are very satisfied from the current government, and you can see heavy security forces have been deployed at the polling station. CRPF has also been deployed, so that there should be no untoward and proper.
Okay, Arzu, stay on with us. We go back across to Ghulam Nabi Azad.
मैं जोर से बोलूंगा।
माइक नीचे करें।
अरे मैं करेंगे।
सर बोलिए।
चलो आप आ गया। बड़े लंबे अरसे के बाद इलेक्शन हो रहे हैं, 10 साल के बाद। तो जो लोग कहते थे कि इलेक्शन नहीं हुए, अब उनको आना चाहिए मैदान में सब जगह से, पूरे परिवार समेत, और अपने वोट का इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए, वोट देना चाहिए। वो उनकी मर्जी है कि किस पार्टी को, किस कैंडिडेट को वो वोट डालें, उसमें हमारा।
Okay, I'm going to go across to my colleague Ajay Jandyal as well, who's joining us on the broadcast. Ajay, if you can take our viewers through the key battle in your constituency and what really is the voters' pulse this morning.
Devika, what we have observed that people, those who have to cast their vote today, they are very cautious. They are very, silent. That is basically something which making all the political parties and even us puzzled, because where they are going to cast their vote, that is something they are really going to be surprised. And if you talk about the major competitions where we are standing, this is the Bahu constituency. Earlier, this constituency was basically known as Gandhinagar constituency, but after the delimitation process, some limitations have been changed, some constituencies has been changed, and even candidates has been changed. Earlier, former Deputy CM Kavindra Gupta was here. He won from the Gandhinagar constituency, but now he was not given mandate. And Vikram Randhawa, he entered in this area, and the BJP gave a mandate to him. Just I will ask you, show you visuals as well. Just see the people have reached here at the polling station, and if you talk about the competition, Vikram Randhawa is contesting from here, and Taranjit Singh Tony, who is a DDC member from the Pura, Suchetkar, he was given a mandate from the Congress side. He is contesting from the Bahu constituency. Other than that, there is a major competition between Raman Bhalla, who is a working president of a Congress, and also BJP's Dr. Narendra Singh, who basically was a professor, and he when came into the politics, he was given mandate from the Jammu South constituency. There is a competition on the Jammu city as well, because Yudhbir Sethi, who is the senior leader of the BJP, he was given a mandate by the BJP, whereas he has to compete with the former minister Yogesh Sani, who is also contesting from the seats. Let's speak to some voter as well, what they have to say. क्या कहेंगे जिस तरीके से लोगों की सुबह सुबह कतारें लगी हैं, आप यहाँ पहुँचे हैं, what is in the mind of the people, what they are thinking, where they are going to cast their vote?
So I'm sure they are going to cast their vote for BJP, because you all know that BJP workers, the candidates, are working very, very hard on the ground level, on the grassroots level. And also, I would like to say that our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji has worked very, very hard for our nation, for the development of our nation, and he has left no stone unturned for the development of for making Bharat a Viksit Bharat.
What is the major issues for the people when they are casting their vote? What is in their mind?
I think they want the government who works for them, who works for the development of the nation. That is their main criteria. That is all.
Do you think 370 is still an issue?
For some people, maybe. For the opposition, it is, but not for the people, for the common people of Jammu and Kashmir, it is not, because you also know that our ladies, our sisters, our daughters have got their haq back. हक वापस मिला उनको बिकॉज ऑफ द 370 टूटने के बाद. क्या ये ऑपोजिशन ये चाहती है कि महिलाओं का हक उनको नहीं मिले और बेटियों का हक उनको नहीं मिले? मिले, अगर नहीं मिले तो फिर ऑपोजिशन अपना काम चला सकती, लेकिन महिलाओं का हक उनको मिला है तो वो बहुत खुश हैं.
So, these are the voices from the Jammu people, those who basically are, those who are BJP supporter, definitely they are supporting the BJP. But if somebody is having a different opinion, they will, where they are going to cast the vote, that has to be seen. If you talk about the 4 districts of the Jammu region, especially this is the Jammu where we are standing. This is the Bahu constituency. 24 constituencies of the 4 districts of Jammu is under polling today. Udhampur, Kathua, Samba, and this Jammu is going for the poll. Another important seat is Chamm constituency, where a former Deputy CM Tara Chand is contesting on the Congress mandate, and he has he has to fight with the own party leader who have left the Congress, and is contesting as an independent candidate, Satish Sharma. He's a son of a former member of Parliament, Madan Lal Sharma, and he's contesting from the Chamm area. BJP's Rajiv Sharma is also in the competition there, but BJP's one senior leader, Narendra Singh Bhau, he also left BJP, and he's contesting independently from the Chamm constituency. So what is happening actually is that there was a rift within the parties, and that's why a number of leaders, those who basically were expecting that they will get mandate, they were not given mandate, and that's why they are contesting independently. So these independents, they are going to change the game of the political parties this time, and not only for the BJP, for the Congress, and for the National Conference as well. And if you talk about the Kashmir, there are 3 districts, Handwara, Kupara, and Baramulla, which are under poll today, and Engineer Rashid's factor is going to work. If that is going to work, definitely it is going for tough for the PDP and the National Conference to survive. And if they will not be able to get enough number on there from the North Kashmir, then definitely it is going for tough for these parties.
All right, Ajay, Arju, stay on with us, because I will surely come back to you to hear some more of those voter voices this morning. But I'm also being joined on the broadcast by Major J.K. Parihar. We also have with us Alok Mehta, editorial director of India News, and Dr. Ramesh Raina, Kashmiri Pandit and political analyst, also joining us on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation with Mr. Alok Mehta. Mr. Mehta, sir, your thoughts on the overall scenario as far as the J&K elections are concerned, and specifically in phase 3. We're looking at 24 seats in Jammu region, 16 seats in the Kashmir region. So, of course, Jammu really is the focus as far as the last phase is concerned. Has the BJP done enough to really cement its position in the Jammu region?
Very good morning, and I think this is a festival of democracy, what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi mentioned about it. Because, the first time after independence, these kind of elections is happening when the Kashmir and Jammu both are voting like other states. Because, earlier they had this Jammu and Kashmir, they had a different constitution for 6 years, and then the terrorism in last 30 years. That's why now the peaceful atmosphere. Maybe 1 or 2 incidents are there, some terror attack, they try to sabotage the elections, but you see this time, and last 2 phases also today, you see the 70-80% people are going to vote. That's why this is showing that the democracy prevail, and the people, Jammu and Kashmir, they are united with the whole India. Because earlier they said it's Kashmir, you are from outsider. Now they feel that after 370 is not there, and now they have to choose the people who can deliver, not the corruption. This is against the corruption of the Abdullah Parivar family since long. Sheikh Abdullah to Omar Abdullah. Number of files are lying everywhere, and people knowing more better than everybody in the files also. Because you see, these kind of elections, it's not question of the party. Even the people who were separatists, now they are joined the hands, and even Jamaat Islam is also in the contest. So you can imagine the PDP is there, who is most of the time supported the Jamaat, especially in NC, National Conference. They joined hands with the Congress party. Rahul Gandhi and Omar Abdullah, they know now roots there. Rahul Gandhi, how many times he visited just for a tour like a tourist? Otherwise, a National Conference, Omar Abdullah recently lost the election in the Lok Sabha election. So you can see not only for BJP, but I think in Valley, even the independent like Engineer Rashid, it happened in the Lok Sabha elections also he won. And now that think that only we can deliver or get the support from the people if we go in a democratic way. They can't do with the terrorism and the separatism. That's why I think this is a very crucial elections. I can't say that it will be a BJP rule itself, but even then, BJP edge in Jammu and some part of Kashmir also, because the influence, the independent candidate. You see, I have seen the panchayat level election and DDC election, district development councils, did help in last 5-10 years. Because what is happening? Because people want to vote for the development. One line is there. That's why the tourism was the major benefiting for the Kashmir, even Jammu also. Vaishnav Devi, millions and millions go there. Same thing with the Kashmir now after the peaceful atmosphere there. Now more than 1 crore, 2 crores people are going every year. This shows that they want peace in a good atmosphere and development, and especially the United States or the UK and the Gulf countries, even UAE and the Saudi Arabia, they are also investing. They want to come to Kashmir just for the development, supporting the Indian constitution, supporting Indian government, and feeling that there is a peaceful atmosphere there. One last point about it is terrorism. You see, people think that terrorism will affecting the Jammu Kashmir. This time, even the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, they are just looking for the future. They think that Jammu Kashmir in such a way, and we are getting representation. So certainly, and the terrorists, after this Israel and everything happening in Beirut and all, terrorists also going in somewhere in like a gufa, what Osama bin Laden and Taliban used to do, because they think that the Indian army is very capable to counter terrorism, and if needed, what we did in Balakot, again it will happen against the terrorists. So now, especially in Jammu region, they tried to attack and give other effects. You need, people want more security. That's why our reporter was telling, the people are asking that we want more security, peaceful, and united with India. We want unity and the same benefits like Ayushman Bharat or the housing or the education and the health services. Basically, I agree that people are expectations are very high. That's why I'm not saying only the BJP, but the other parties who want to work and they have some support are the independent, and the best parties, the separatists, they are joining hands for the democracy. It will help ultimately. Maybe it's alliance like in, you see, Northeast, it will be electional the same. What we are seeing in the Northeast, number of regional parties, regional leaders come, they join hands with the BJP, and then the BJP also controlled with the support of the central government. It will be a full state. Okay. You see, all the time they are promising the full state, the Congress will come. No, it's a promise by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, Home Minister. They said, okay, after the peaceful atmosphere, certainly we will have a Jammu state level.
Okay. Alok Mehtaji, I will come back to you in a moment. We also have Tausif Shah of the PDP joining us this morning. Tausif Shah, the PDP, of course, was in power and then the government fell apart. That was the last time around. J&K saw a government formation after a democratic electoral process. What has the PDP done in the past few years to really cement their position or come back in J&K?
Yeah, hi. Very, very good morning to all the panelists and to you also. So, I would like to say that we have been the party since we have seen that the 5th of August, rather for that year, 2019, we were preparing for the new elections. But something happened that the 5th August, after 5 August 2019, the Article 370 was abrogated. You might have yourself witnessed there was a sole single party who was speaking on behalf of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. We have seen the protests erupting in Jammu for the reason that Darbar Move was stopped. We had a tradition. I don't know if you know what about Darbar Move is. We had a tradition that we had the capital for 6 months in during summers we had it in Srinagar, and during winters we had it in Jammu. So that way both of the cities were very much benefited by the business, because in winters we used to travel to Jammu. The government employees, I mean to say, there were lakhs of the government employees who traveled to Jammu, and then Jammu people traveled to Srinagar. during the summer period. So there was a lot of boost in the business. We used to help, rather, it was a sort of a helping hand for business in both the cities, because due to the militancy and the past 30 years, that we had seen that there was a turmoil and there was not that kind of tourism. So obviously we have to accept that Jammu was also suffering. Now, we were the single party who was raising the issues on both the fronts in Jammu and Srinagar for the Barmu, for the removal of Article 370, the abrogation of Article 370, which we still accept that it was not removed constitutionally. It was not removed legally. There should have been a due course to remove it. There should have been a special way to remove it. Now, so we have seen that in both Jammu and Kashmir, not only in Srinagar, in both Jammu and Kashmir, we have seen that the people have been laid off their jobs, their permanent government jobs, because of the reason that their kin, their relation, their father, son, maternal, paternal uncle, they have been somehow associated with the militancy or with the ongoing turmoil, or they had been, we don't know. It's basically that government said that they are associated with their overground workers, their underground workers, they are related to them, but God knows and the government agencies knows who did the scrutiny of them. We don't have papers, we don't know anything, we don't have access to the documents. So then we have seen that how our businesses have turned into non-paying accounts, because being a tourist state, everything depending upon the tourism industry. So we had lots of loans on our heads for constructing hotels. Same is the case with Jammu. Jammu was also, because when a person had to come to Srinagar for the tourism or for the business, he had to stay overnight in Jammu. So we have seen that both Jammu as well as Srinagar, both the cities suffered.
Okay.
We had loans taken for small businesses, which turned into non-paying accounts because of the reason that there was a band since 2019 to approximately 1 year for this Article 370. Then immediately we suffered the pandemic. So again 2 years it was closed. Approximately 2 years. I don't say 2 years. Approximately 2 years. So we saw closure for 3 years. So there was no package. There was nothing at all from the side of government. That 3 years the state has been closed. There's nothing at all. So we have hell of non-paying accounts. We have hell of businesses that have been ruined because of the Article 370, the removal of the Article 370. When I'm again saying that we were waiting for the elections, because that was the year of 2019 when elections would have to be held.
Okay, all right.
But,
so the PDP, of course, pivoting back to the Article 370 argument. Tashreef Shah, I will come back to you in a moment. Let me bring in Dr. Ramesh Raina. Dr. Ramesh Raina, how much do you agree with that assessment as far as the removal of Article 370 is concerned? A lot of the NC PDP campaigning in Kashmir has been around Article 370 and its abrogation, and of course, various difficulties that, yes, the people did face. However, in your assessment, will that really be a decisive factor in favor of the NC PDP, or do you feel that that's a decisive factor in favor of the BJP?
First of all, good morning to all my co-panelists, and thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak from this platform. Well, this time the elections are going to be fought on a different plane altogether, because this is a new era in the politics of Kashmir. Not even in the politics of Kashmir, but in the electoral history of Kashmir. You see, from 1951 onwards till date, we have had 12 elections. And during these 12 elections, I think this is the only election where we have seen high turnover of voters to cast their votes. And that is the first thing. As far as you are talking about National Conference and other parties, their impact, you see, you have to go into the political manifesto of National Conference. There are a few things which I wish to talk about. Number first, National Conference says that if we are voted to power, we are going to implement the resolution that was adopted by the Legislative Assembly in 2000, which says for greater autonomy. And what does greater autonomy mean? Greater autonomy means pre-1953 position. That would mean almost swearing the umbilical cord relations with rest of the country, which I believe is not possible, and people have not taken it kindly. That is number one. And number two, they say that even if it takes us 100 years, we will try to retain Article 370. I think it is just like taking people on garden path and giving them false promises, because we have to understand on December 11, 2023, Supreme Court put its stamp on the validity of this article. Then another thing is that they say that we will try to have a dialogue between India and Pakistan. Well, please understand that this is a foreign policy issue, and this issue has to be held by the government of India, and this issue is being held in the context of no terror, no talks. Once terrorism is over, obviously the talks would be there. So again, this is something which is not going well. And then there are few things again which we have to know. There are few communities which are going to vote for the first time. For example, West Pakistan refugees, Valmiki Samaj, and Gorkha community, who were denied electoral franchise till then. Now coming to PDP. Now if you look at the political manifesto of PDP, PDP says that it is a people's aspiration. Can we believe that retention of Article 370 is people's aspiration? Do we believe it? And do rest of the people in the state of J&K believe it? You see, there are only 3 people which have been affected by the removal of Article 370. First of all, one is the people who were talking of pro-independence. They wanted independence from Kashmir. They are at all not concerned whether there is Article 370 or not, because they wanted to have an independent Kashmir. Then another group of the people is the politicians and the political parties, because to have Article 370, to re-inculcate the concept of idea of Article 370 in the people of Kashmir shows their relevance, because they want to be relevant to the politics of Kashmir. And another is the business class. Business class of the state was never concerned about whether there was Article 370 or not. So people this time, they have no, there's no idea of having Article 370 back. The business class, till this date, there are, in fact, our conversations with our colleagues in the Kashmir, some people tell us that why did the government of India go in for elections? It is for the first time that we are doing business, and we have learned how the business is being done. So that means earlier, the political parties which were manning the government, the benefits, business benefits, tourism benefits, and other benefits used mostly to go to the party cadre. My co-panelist earlier, he was talking about the people who were thrown out of the government on terrorism charges. And if we look at those people who were thrown out of the service because of terrorism charge, those maximum employments took place during PDP rule. Then coming to Jammu, okay. Jammu is a different game of ball altogether. It's a different thing. You see, there are 43 constituencies in Jammu, where almost 34 constituencies are Hindu majority constituencies or Hindu affected constituencies. And okay. Today, we have to see the effort of the BJP is there to sweep Hindu majority of that area. Not only that, another thing is that we have Riyasi and Poonch, where the Pahadi people have been given this scheduled caste and scheduled tribes status, and they have inducted one very important Gujar leader who has a lot of influence. So the possibility
okay.
of
okay, Dr. Rana, I'll come to Jammu in just a moment. But on the topic of Article 370, I want to bring in Major General J.K.S. Pariyar into the conversation as well. Major General J.K.S. Pariyar, I want to understand from your perspective, sir, as far as the purpose of Article 370 in having some impact on terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, has the BJP managed to deliver on that promise?
In fact, the question is a little bit complex, complicated for a security aspect or the defense analyst. But since it is a national interest, I would definitely like to add on about the 370 article. In fact, the 370 article was a temporary measures obtained by the government of India, and even that time it was mentioned कि घिसते ये खत्म होगा. So obviously gradually it has become quite weak, and the government step of removing 370 article, I don't find any reason to blame anybody or question the process of the government which has been followed. And second aspects that it is definitely, it has given access to the JNK constitution merged with the Indian part of the Indian constitution, and all rules and regulations of the country, a nation is now observing the JNK, which is perfectly, absolutely need of the hour, and it has to be well. This is the part one. The part two about the security arrangements, it has been for a long time, last 5 to 6 years, the government has taken a step, and particularly during the last 4 months when after before Lok Sabha election and prior to that the Supreme Court directive to have the assembly election has been phenomenal so far the Kashmir Valley is concerned, and there were some lapses in the Jammu division which has been taken care of. Various breaks of the security arrangements have been made, and you can imagine that today day is a very, very important day. Around 40 lakhs, 4 million people are voting in 5,000 polling booths, which is a very, very important thing, that 40 seats for and 40 lakhs and 5,000. The security arrangement at the border, it has been done by the BSF and the army. Here is the local police security, Assam Rifles. A lot of things have been done. If we cannot have the away ourselves from the political situations in the Kashmir, and if you analyze with the Lok Sabha elections and the voting turnout in the phase 1 and 2, there are two alarming signs which we have to observe and have to be very cautious in the future of the Jammu Kashmir assemblies and the course of action which can take place. The first of all, in the Jammu divisions, the terror rate areas, the voting turnout has been less, whereas it has been higher turnout in the Kashmir Valley. So this is it means, and as our co-panelists were mentioning about division of votes in the religious basis, I think that is the worst scenario for any state to have, because ultimately we are going to have the government which has to function in the J&K, not in the Jammu and Kashmir. So in any case, the government of the day which will come in the J&K has to have the adequate participation, representation from the Kashmir Valley and Jammu both. And with that situation, I am foreseeing that the government will have a different representation. A lot of question about the separately. They have changed their strategy. I would say that whatever it is, a government push on the security beef up in the Kashmir valleys, and they are all hideouts, their financial supports, everything has been broken, which is a very welcome step. But they have changed their strategy rather than boycotting, they are becoming part of it. Okay. And the way I take 1 minute, the way they are taking in the Lok Sabha elections, the one independent separatist has won. It means there is a clear signal that Jamaite and independents, so-called independent separatists, will have a seasoned number of demonstration in the valley. And if they get a valley more, then obviously they will have the participation in the government. And I won't surprise the government of the national party have to have the support of any of these three groups, either the independent group, which is most likely, or PDP or National Congress. Okay. Last word on my part, last word is that if you isolate the local political parties, regional parties in such a sensitive state is not good for the health of the nation, because otherwise they get the sympathy of a local district. Last on the statehood, I don't think the time has come for the statehood, because the central government will observe how the state assembly is going to behave, how it is formed, and what will the pattern, the way they are going to take. Because if they find that the group which is not separatist or dominated group, and PDP, if they are in the past, how they are going to pass the resolutions in the assembly, everything has to be seen. So, which is the most important election for the security reason, change the directions of the politics, not only the J&K, but the national politics and national policy of the external affair.
Okay, I have some breaking news coming in. I'm going to come back to our panelists in just a moment. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, we've been told, has called for a strong leadership in the J&K Assembly polls in the final phase. He said that the people voting here in the last phase should use their power to form a government that keeps Jammu and Kashmir away from terrorism, separatism, nepotism and corruption, and is determined to protect the rights of every section. This is the word, of course, coming in from the Union Home Minister this morning as J&K begins its last and final phase of voting for the 2024 Assembly elections in the Union Territory. Meanwhile, we have some more breaking news coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also spoken on the matter. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged people of Jammu and Kashmir to cast their vote in the last round of voting. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, "I am confident that apart from the young friends who are going to vote for the first time, women power will also be participating in the voting process in large numbers." Important point there about both the youth and the women raised by the Prime Minister this morning. I will take that up with our guests, but let me go back. I want to bring Mr. Alok Mehta back into the conversation, and then I'll give the last word to Mr. Tausif Shah. Alok Mehta ji, I'd just like to understand from your perspective, sir. As far as Article 370 is concerned, there has been a lot of debate and discussion about how some of the regional parties promising to bring back Article 370 is nothing but an empty promise at the end of the day. Your perspective on the same, and if it is an empty promise, why do these parties continue to harp on about it? Is this a method of providing some sort of false hope to the people, and are the people naive enough to buy into it?
Devika, very rightly you mentioned about it, because the last Lok Sabha elections also, the Congress party, especially Rahul Gandhi and all, they were trying to say this BJP will come in power and then there will be a constitution, they will change the constitution. Same thing happening here, because for 370 nothing to do with the statehood. The statehood will be there without 370. That's why I think there was a major challenge for this national party, especially for the Congress party was also a responsibility. But unfortunately, Congress party joined hands with the National Conference, who says, okay, we will bring 370. You see, people, poor people, because they think that 370 will give the statehood. But no, this is the wrong conception. And that's why I think for the statehood, it is not possible for 370 again repeat, because the Parliament and the Supreme Court itself says there is no need now the 370, and it will never happen in the future. That's why Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, both spoke and went there several times, visited, and development also. They were monitoring from here. Governor, give credit to Manoj Sinha. The governor also tried to best for the development, to see the tunnels, see the bridges, the roads, and in the rural area, the benefit of the welfare schemes. So these kind of governor, I remember when I was there in 1987, the Jagmohan was there, and the election time, because there was rigging and all, but some people, you will find the reports in the old newspapers that there were people voted even for name of the Jagmohan. So you can imagine now the situation is different. I can understand development. People want, like in Delhi or in Jharkhand or in Odisha, every state, people want more development. That's why I'm not saying that the people just vote for BJP just because of this, or Hindu or Muslim. I again say this is not the question of Hindu-Muslim, because you see the Muslims, how many people were in the meetings of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. People are coming there. Maybe they will not get, like in Tamil Nadu or in Kerala. If BJP is not ruling there, doesn't mean that they have no support for the BJP itself, because people vote for democracy and for development. This time in Jammu and Kashmir, people are voting against the terrorism, against this type of corruption by the Abdullah family and the PDP, and who also helped the separatists. That is the unfortunate part. Separatists means even the Pakistan support to terrorist organizations, and then they were just released from the jail, and even in the government also, in police. You see, when I visited before 220, I think this was the main problem, because the police and cooperation with the army forces also not very good, because police were also bribed by this terrorist group, and some part of the policemen, they were also then sacked by the new regime. And now the cooperation with the police and army forces also. That's why the more peaceful atmosphere, especially in the election time, people are voting in a large scale. Whatever Mr. Rana mentioned, women voters, the young voters, they are also coming because they think that the Valmikis are the people who were suffering, and they were, because of the 370, they were not possible to get even the job. They are not getting the voting rights. These kind of situations, different new voters are also there. After in the last 5 years, what is happening? Because the people want more power, more benefit what other states are getting. That's why I think this is the very historical elections for Jammu and Kashmir, and it will show the world. You see how many ambassadors and the foreigners went there, even in the polling time, last phase. They saw that how peaceful atmosphere is there, how people are coming in a big way for the democracy. I think it shows the world and United Nations that when this Pakistan Prime Minister and others, they talk about the Kashmir, they forget that what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir. Real democracy in India, including Jammu and Kashmir, and that's why all over the world people knows that what Pakistan doing for the terrorism and the fight against the terrorism. This vote is against the bullet, against the terrorism.
Okay.
That is the advantage of this election.
Okay, I want to bring Tausif Shah back into the conversation. Tausif Shah, you heard what some of our analysts have had to say. As far as this promise regarding 370 is concerned, what really is the logic of the PDP? On what basis does the PDP continue to make that promise to the people of Jammu and Kashmir?
Look, there's a way for everything to go. Once these elections are over and somebody is to form the government, now we have to see that if people vote for the parties who are supporting 370s, then they are the people who are going to create the government. Once the government is, supposedly we say that what we have seen on the ground, we have been approximately since last 1 month, we have been in the campaigning mode, and we have seen that both in Jammu and Kashmir, we didn't go to Ladakh and the other parts of the Kargil, but still we have news coming in from there that there also the people are supporting 370. Now, immediately coming to the point, not wasting the time, once the assembly comes into the formation, that would not be the assembly of just 90 people. That would be, behind them would be the full population of Jammu and Kashmir, that is 1.5 crore people standing, who would send them to the assembly by electing them, using the polls. Now, we have seen that Supreme Court has rejected our last plea for reconsideration of the Article 370. Now, once the State Assembly simply passes a resolution, again I'm saying that first we have to see that which parties are forming the government. If it's the parties who are supporting 370, they'll just go for a resolution. That resolution would obviously be supported by more than 50% of the assembly members. So then it would be again sent to the Supreme Court, which would have no other option than to reconsider it. I'm not saying that they're going to give the decision right away, right then, because this used to be one of the strongest assemblies in all of India. Now they have turned it out to be one of the very weakest assemblies in the full of India.
But Tausif Shah, I said, what is the basis?
Let me tell you what is the basis.
What is the basis of this promise? So because I'm sure, one second, I just want to clarify my question, that the PDP or the NC, whoever is promising that 370 will be back if they're in power, I'm sure you've done your own research as to whether that is even possible.
Yes, that's possible. Yes, exactly, that's possible. That's why we are giving them the reasons, because once the resolution is passed in the assembly, that resolution would go in the shape of plea to the Supreme Court of India, with duly signed by more than 50% of the legislators, and Supreme Court would be forced to reconsider it. Whatever comes the decision, that is secondary. We are not speaking about what the decision is going to come out. But they have to reconsider, they have to reopen the case. Once the case is reopened, since we have seen that last time, there were many points which Mr. Kapil Sibal has raised and which were simply negated by the Supreme Court, which were not considered. This is, since last 1947 till today, 2 times the same Supreme Court of India has said that Article 370 is a permanent act. It's a ruling. It's a ruling for different cases which have been. One was that Mr. Sampath Prakash case. That was in 1968 or 69. All my panelists can simply Google it or see. It's all on the internet. It's nothing.
Okay.
Neither
All right.
hidden nor
So the
special.
promise is on the basis of firstly.
So reconsider. They have to reconsider it. They have to reconsider it. And once the things are reconsidered, then we will.
What is the likelihood of the Supreme Court overturning its own decision, sir?
No,
I'm sure the PDP has gone into that as well, right? How many decisions of the Supreme Court have been overturned in the past by another bench of the Supreme Court? There must be a percentage that you're playing with here.
Yeah, no, but we had, the case was with the 5 benches, maybe that will go to the 7 bench, that can go to the 12 bench. But once if they see there's any problem in the last decision, I don't think Supreme Court would say that we need to hold our decisions up rather than giving the justice to the people. Justice means more than, yes, if I realize that I have done a mistake, I would try to correct it. So we have full faith on the Supreme Court of India.
Okay.
We have faith.
Okay, Dr. Ramesh Raina, your thoughts on this strategy that the PDP feels will work out in its favor?
See, first of all, I want to tell my honorable co-panelists that I have never heard in the history a judgment being overturned by the same court which delivers the judgment. Question is not about judgment being reversed or something. Question is about justice. He talked about justice. If presuming academically that if Article 370 is restored, is it going to give justice? Then you need to go into the basic definition of justice. And if at all injustice has been done, I think injustice has been done over the ages with a community called Kashmiri Pandits who continue to languish as migrants. They have not been even known as displaced Kashmiri Pandits. If you go into the basic definition of migrants means that we have voluntarily and willfully migrated from that place. And if at all my co-panelist is so concerned about the justice being delivered to Kashmiris, I think he should keep Kashmiri Pandits the uppermost, and about 4 lakh Kashmiri Pandits are still languishing in rest of the country and other parts of the country, living a hell life. Now, saying that we will restore Article 370 is just a dream, and that dream is not going to come true, at least in our lifetime, because you have to understand, Kashmir is a border state like Punjab, and security concerns are more in Kashmir. You see, the selling point, the marketing point of the Bharatiya Janata Party has been that we have ended the terrorism, and rightfully so, number one, and we have increased the security of a common man. We have reduced the threat perception of a common man, and rightfully so. It is because of this climate that the people are roaming on the streets, and it is because of the abolition of Article 370 and Article 35A that you could see G20 being held in Kashmir, and which was held not by India alone, but all over the world. Not only this thing, only very recently the diplomats were got to the valley of Kashmir to see for themselves the climate in the valley. And you see, it speaks volumes when about 61% and 57% voters turn out to vote in first and second phase of the elections in Kashmir, that they are not so concerned about the retention of Article 370 as much as they are concerned about the security and breathing in fresh air. That is what you see. If we go by the recent reports, YouTube reports, conversations, small videos, we see a common man only concerned about, he says that there is unemployment. And they talk about this unemployment, and unemployment has occupied about 90% of the electoral debate that has been going on in the valley. I have hardly seen anybody except the political cadres, except the party cadres who have been crying from rooftops that we want to retain Article 370, so on and so forth.
Okay.
I think they are selling a bad dream to Kashmiris, and I think they need to stop this.
Okay, I've run out of time as far as this particular conversation is concerned, and I thank all of our panelists for joining us on the broadcast. We will, of course, continue our rolling coverage of the last phase of the Jammu and Kashmir elections, but we have some more breaking news coming in. Amid the